Well, we're joined on the line by a senior reporter, Voice of Nigeria, Mazino Dickson. I hope I got the name right. Good morning to you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Good morning.
I hope I got your name right.
Very correct. Absolutely, it's correct.
Thank you. It's a pleasure talking to you this morning. How's Nigeria this morning?
Well, thank you so much. It's 24 hours to the elections, and everybody is keyed up because there's been months of campaigning, advocacy, both in person and online. And like you said, of course, names have been trending: Peter Obi, Bola Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. Those are the front runners for this presidential elections. There are 18 presidential candidates that will be contesting, but like I said, the four mentioned names are the front runners. And right now, I'm in Adamawa State, that's in the northeast of the country. It's a state that borders Cameroon, and incidentally, it was one of the hotbeds of insurgency that has ravaged northeastern Nigeria. And also, it is the home state of one of the frontline presidential candidates. That's the leading opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. So he's in Adamawa right now, and he will be voting in the capital, Yola, as will all other presidential candidates. From feelers on ground, there will be a lockdown from 12 midnight, Saturday 12 midnight, and it will last till 6 p.m. local time, which will be about 7 p.m. Ghanaian time, and 5 p.m. Ghanaian time. And well, the arrangement is that people will be voting based on with their biometric cards. And of course, for journalists, we have to identify ourselves because there's a security cordon that will be thrown around the whole country. So that is just basically the way things are at the moment. And we are waiting with bated breath for the much anticipated presidential elections.
And let me start with the matter of the security. You said there will be a lockdown. What do you mean when you say that? What does that mean? What exactly will happen?
Okay, now typically in the Nigerian scene, when there is a major election, right, whether it's presidential, regional elections, normally movement is restricted. Movement is restricted. What it means is that only people with their voting card, essential services like the security, like the media, and the health workers are allowed to move. So if you have no business, if you come out to the main street and you cannot identify yourself in terms of having a voter's card or a pass, because everybody's those on essential services will be given a pass. If you don't have it, then you will be detained till after the election, so that you would not constitute a security risk. Because in the past, we've had incidents of, violence, ballot snatching, and things like that. But we may not see that this year because of the innovations that have come into the system. That is the BVAS, bimodal voting system. That what it means is that when you vote in your polling booth, automatically your card has a chip that is matched with your fingerprint, and it's now uploaded into a system. And immediately you vote, your vote is captured, and it appears at the back end of the server of the umpire. Of course, the umpire for Nigeria's election is called Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, because we have a central electoral body. So the idea is that the cordon is to prevent violence, to prevent unauthorized persons from moving all over the place to constitute a nonsense, so that as you come with your voter's card, you identify your polling unit, you are captured, you are verified, you vote, and you go home. So the area where people will vote and loiter or be hanging around to see what happens, where the issue of vote buying now becomes a norm, is also checked. So that's the whole idea of the security cordon, to prevent vote buying, to prevent ballot snatching, and just to ensure that voters are not intimidated, harassed, or coerced into doing what they don't want to do.
Security in Nigeria has been a major concern for some time. In fact, before Buhari came into power, there was a lot of talk about attacks, terrorist attacks, among others. Is that still a huge concern?
Yes, it's still a huge concern. And in fact, I mean, one of the front lines, Adamawa, which was one of the epicenter of the insurgency, the Islamic insurgency of Boko Haram. But tell you the truth, in the last couple of months, it would seem like the security situation has been stabilized across the country. Also aware that we had issues of banditry and kidnapping. But I can tell you that in the last 3 weeks or months, there has been a complete lockdown on those stateless actors. The incidence of killings, attacks has basically disappeared for two reasons. You know, this is an election time, and a lot of people have insinuated in the past that some of these attacks are politically motivated. Then secondly, one of the incentives for this constant attack is kidnapping. Now, the Nigerian government introduced a cashless policy a few weeks ago that has basically taken away or made huge sums of money no longer legal tender. So the incentive for kidnapping and all those things has basically disappeared. So I was able to travel by road from Abuja, capital Abuja, Damawa. A very big risk, but I mean, there was really nothing because as things stand, the security apparatus seems to have gotten things right at the right time, just in the nick of time before the elections come. So the security worries will always be there, but it may not be as dangerous as it used to be. But again, I must also mention that the southeast of the country recently has been a target for attacks against these elections. Separatists who are agitating for a breakaway Republic of Biafra, or some, as they call them, unknown gunmen, have been attacking political structures. Just 2 days ago, a Labour Party candidate was killed and burnt alive. We've had incidents of polling stations attacked, voting materials destroyed because they don't want elections. They want a referendum to secede from Nigeria. So that is basically the only direct security threat to the elections from the southeast. In the north, it's not likely going to be a problem. In the south, that's the Niger Delta. People have come on the record numbers to register. In fact, they have the third highest numbers of voters. And in the southwest is a key political leader, Bola Tinubu, that is contesting. So, and they are likely to vote in that direction. So the security worries for the elections are more with the southeast. Yes, but it's the residents seem determined to come out to vote because the separatists who have been attacking political structures in the southeast have been telling people to sit at home, that there will be a lockdown, nobody will be allowed to vote. But it looks like the southeasterners are determined to vote, especially as one of their own, Peter Obi, who seems to be the most popular candidate right now, is on the ballot. So they want to exercise their franchise. So that's just an assessment of the security situation right now at the moment.
So Peter Obi is from the southeast.
Yes, he's from the southeast.
Let me then ask about the you said you have. It's interesting to hear you say you have a central electoral commission because you're supposed to have a federalist system. I'm wondering how you have a central electoral commission. But are they prepared for? Have they indicated their preparedness for the elections? Are there issues about their preparedness?
Very good question. This is how it works. We have state electoral commissions that report to a central electoral commission. Now, what it means is that for the presidential elections, the state electoral commission, they call them REC, state electoral commissioners, they collate the results from the states, they paste the announcement of the winners, then they now send same to the situation room in Abuja, which is where the main INEC national chairman, his name is Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. He will now be calling the results from the state as collated from the various resident electoral commissioners. So yes, it's a federal system. Even INEC is federal, but it's just that the national chairman is like the final collation officer who just simply affirms what the resident electoral commissioners have announced in their state. So he's not going to override what they've done, except there is an incident that that is reported that maybe some areas there was no voting or over voting or there was violence. Then it is the electoral commission that would now put this in his report, and of course the national electoral commission would announce that, okay, this is what has happened. But basically the states run the state electoral commissioners are given a free hand to administer everything about the state: presidential, governorship, national assembly, and local assemblies. Because for this Saturday, that's tomorrow, 2 elections are happening simultaneously: the presidential elections and the National Assembly. The National Assembly, we have 2 houses: the upper house, which is called the Senate, and the lower house, which is called the House of Representatives. The Senate is called the Red Chamber, and the House of Reps is called the Green Chamber. So what the Electoral Commissioner is just going to do is basically, that the National Electoral Commissioner in Abuja is to announce the overall winner of the presidential elections. States Assembly and National Assembly results will be called from the states. They don't have any business with the center. So I can tell you that INEC seems prepared, because there have been reports that some people were like the election will be postponed, but the INEC chairman has stood his ground. He was even at Chatham House in London recently, where he spoke. This week he hosted observer missions from the EU, from the United States, from ECOWAS, led by former President Mahama of Ghana and Boni Yai of Benin Republic, then also African Union. And he has made it clear that the elections will hold tomorrow. And the president, because he's not contesting, he wants to also obviously wants to leave a lasting legacy, has given the electoral body all the resources to ensure that these elections hold successfully. But I must tell you one thing: the key difference for these elections is the beavers that I talked about. Because what used to happen before now is people will come with their card, they call it PVC, personal voting card. You show it, they match with your thumb, they match with your thumbprint, you vote and go. But now that's just not it. INEC now has gone further to ensure that with that card, once you vote, it is captured in what they call their back server. So even if people now come to say they want to disrupt the results, carry ballot boxes or thumbprint, it is what is captured in the server that will be finally announced. You understand? So the incidence of votes over voting, bringing different ballot papers. Sometimes what will happen in the past is we've seen people like Mike Tyson vote, Nelson Mandela, dead people just appear just to pad votes. But that's not going to happen now, because everything is electronically captured. So that's what INEC has been insisting. And that was what they ensured, that the Electoral Act that was amended reflected this. There was some opposition from some political parties who felt that the electronic voting would put them in trouble, because maybe some of them are used to padding numbers, but now that is going to be largely curtailed. So personally, based on my observations and assessment, I think INEC is ready for these elections, and we're all looking forward to a good process tomorrow and subsequently.
So since you are in, say you are in Adamawa State.
Yes.
Which states will be the battlegrounds for you?
0.5.
Now, this is a very, okay, I must tell you. Now, typically, according to the electoral law and the constitution, to be president of Nigeria, you must win at least majority of votes in 2/3 of 25 states of Nigeria. Now, there are 36 states in Nigeria. We have 6 geopolitical zones. You have the Northwest, you have the Northeast, you have the North Central, you have the Southwest, you have the Southeast, and you have South-South. 6 geopolitical zones. Now, typically what happens is, apart from winning in the 25 states to 3rd, you are expected to at least get the majority in a maximum of 4 geopolitical zones or 3 political zones. If you can win outright in 3 geopolitical zones and get a fair outing in the remaining 3, you stand a chance. But you see, this election is now very different. Why? In the past, it has always been a 2-horse race, but now it's a 3-horse race because of the entrance of Peter Obi. And why is this significant? Let me just put it this way. The 3 front runners are Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, who is from the Southwest, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, who is from the Northeast, and Peter Gregory Obi, who is from Southeastern Nigeria and is running under Labour Party. Now, there are 3 major tribes in Nigeria. You have the Hausa, or Hausa and Hausa Fulani, you have the Igbo, and you have the Yoruba. Now, the 3 front runners are from the 3 major tribes. Now, the last time we've had this kind of scenario was 1979, when you had Alhaji Shehu Shagari of NPN, and Chief Obafemi Shagari was from the Northwest, Chief Obafemi Awolowo of the UPN was from the West, and Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, our first Governor General, head of state, was from the East. So, as things stand, you are going to have an ethnic dimension to the elections. Most Yorubas from the West, Southwest, are likely going to vote Tinubu. A lot of Northerners or Hausa speakers, based on polls, are tilting towards Atiku Abubakar. And Peter Obi is definitely going to get the support from Igbos. But not just that. Right now, he seems to enjoy a lot of support amongst the younger Nigerians, especially the young voters who are going to vote. Now, according to the INEC numbers, over 80 million Nigerians are going to vote. And this year, we had 10 million new entrants who are coming to vote. And majority of them, based on what we've seen, are Peter Obi supporters, and they cut across board. Now, you talk about battleground states. Lagos is one. Lagos is supposed to be traditionally a home stretch for Bola Tinubu, because that's his home state. He was 2 times governor, he was a senator, and he has, he built up his political structure from Lagos. So you would say normally Lagos will go. But remember, Lagos is home to millions of Nigeria. It's the most populated state, about 26 million. It's essentially in the southwest, but you have lots of people from the east and other parts of the country. And majority of them, based on polls, seem to be tilting towards Obi. So Lagos is going to be a battleground state. Initially, to win in Nigeria, if you win in Lagos, southwest, Kano, northwest, Rivers, south-south, Borno, northeast, and Katsina, then you can, and Kaduna, northwest, you are already as good as being president, including the federal capital. But as it is now, the battleground states, Lagos, the federal capital, FCT, Rivers State, which originally has always been a PDP stronghold, but with Obi's presence now, is going to be a battle royale. Kano, in fact, Kano, that used to have some of the largest number of voters, second largest, is going to be another battleground, because there is another presidential candidate from Kano. His name is Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. He was a 2-time governor. He was a senator. He was a former minister of defense. He was a former deputy speaker of the House of Representatives. And his movement is called Kwankwasia, and they are very, very strong on ground. So Kano is going to be split down the middle. Tinubu, being from the ruling party, and the governor being from the ruling party, will get votes. Atiku Abubakar from the main opposition party, PDP, will get votes. Kwankwaso, who many had tried to implore to step down, but has insisted he will continue, is going to divide votes. So Kano, Lagos is going to be very interesting. Rivers State, that has been traditionally PDP, majority of the people you ask on the streets, they are all tilting towards Obi. The governor, the sitting governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, is basically working for Bola Tinubu. Then Atiku, who is from the PDP that traditionally controls Rivers State, is there. So Rivers State, Lagos State, Kano, Kaduna, these are the battleground states, and these are states that have the highest number of voters in the country. So traditionally, you cannot just say this person will win Lagos, this person person will win the Rivers. It's going to be split down the middle. And that's why there's even the possibility of a runoff that we may not be able to produce a clear-cut winner at the end of the day. And we may not have to go for a runoff between the two front runners. And that would make it very, very interesting if that were to happen.
So the projections are for a runoff?
It is looking like that now. Because if you had called this results maybe like a month or two ago, you would have said, okay, Tinubu because he's from the ruling party, or Atiku because the North will give him the votes, and people are angry. But the Obi presence, which some people had initially dismissed, is real. Look, I was traveling down to Adamawa in the north. I passed through Plateau State, I passed through Bauchi, I passed through Gombe. PDP and APC, these are their traditional strongholds, but the Obi presence is strong. Even in Adamawa, there is supposed to be a shielding for Atiku Abubakar, his home state. Obi has significant support. So let me tell you what has actually happened. Those traditional areas that were for PDP, right? Obi has eaten into those areas. He has taken a large chunk from Lagos, from PDP. Even APC that controls Lagos, the commercial capital, he has eaten there. So had Obi not been present, I can tell you that based on projections, Atiku Abubakar would have won these elections hands down, because he would have won Southeast, he would have won South-South, he would have won a chunk of North Central. He has taken over Northeast and he has fully penetrated Northwest. So it would have been a landslide win. But the coming of Peter Obi has taken votes from Atiku from the Southeast and South-South, and even parts of North Central. Then Kwankwaso being present in Kano, that has also taken the vote. So the truth is, the presence of Peter Obi and Kwankwaso has taken away that predictability of the presidential election that you would have just given either to APC or PDP. And that's why I said, if nobody is able to secure the majority based on the constitution, because, you must win, like I said, 2/3 of 25 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. Now, if you don't get that, then you have to have a runoff. So as a political scientist, if you ask me, outside journalism, I feel that, yes, we could actually have a runoff after the presidential votes are called, if the tightness of the opinion polls continues. We've been having different opinion polls. Some have given to Obi, some have given to Atiku, some have given to Tinubu. There's even one that came up on Wednesday that gave it to Kwankwaso. So it depends on who you ask. But traditionally, I would have said Atiku would have won these elections hands down. No question about it. But now it's tight. Let's see what trickling on Sunday. We will know definitely where the pendulum is going to swing and how much impact the obedient movement, as they call Obi supporters, and the Kwankwasia movement in the Northwest would have on the final outcome.
I could listen to you all day, but I have to come in studio. Two things before I let you go. The first one, how long will it take for results to be out? Because this time you say they are using what is largely close to an electronic platform. So how long would this make it easier for results to be gotten faster?
Yes. Now, traditionally, it takes about voting. Normally, takes place on Saturday. Coalition starts on Sunday. Results start trickling in Sunday evening. By Monday morning, you have an idea who is winning and the announcement will come. But if things go according to plan, we might get, by the time we start seeing because you can go to the INEC portal, iRev, where you can actually see the results in real time. So you don't even have to wait for INEC to call the final result. You can see it, because like I said, as people vote, it is captured. So we might even have the results in by Sunday. It is very likely that if there are no incidences or any hitch at all, by Sunday afternoon, we should have our new president and our new members of National Assembly. Yeah,
that'll be very fast. But let me then ask you about, because yesterday one of the news that is being talked about in Ghana here has been the loss of a senator. We understand a senator, is it a senator, or was killed. Tell us the story. Yes. And whether that is affecting people's perhaps psyche in terms of coming out to vote.
Thank you so much. That's a very, very valid question and an issue to look at. Remember, I told you at the beginning that the major worry for these elections now is the Southeast. Now you have a low-key insurgency being orchestrated by a group called Indigenous People of Biafra IPOB, which initially started as an agitation, then metamorphosed into low-key insurgency, where security personnel are killed, state actors killed, political structures destroyed. Now, what happened was that the Senator Oyibo, he is from Enugu State. He was contesting for the Senate under the Labour Party from Enugu East Senatorial District. He was engaging in a campaign, and based on what I was on the accounts, he was shot at and the car set ablaze. Now, remember I told you that they have already, this group, it was started by Mazino, who has been in detention. Then another individual by the name of Simon Ekpa, based in Finland, who was yesterday invited or arrested for questioning in Finland, because over time, if you go on Twitter, he has been agitating that there will be no voting in the whole of Southeast, that there will be a lockdown. So the fear is that with the killing of the senatorial candidate, that might actually incentivize people not to come out to vote. It is very possible. However, with the Finnish authorities arresting Simon Ekpa yesterday and questioning him, we are yet to see. But like I said, majority of would-be voters in the Southeast really want to vote this time, because Nigeria has never had a president of Igbo extraction elected, and they want to at least make an attempt. I'm coming. Sorry, I'm coming. They want to make an attempt to ensure that it is possible. So the killings might affect, it will impact, no doubt, but let us see, now that the Finnish authorities have taken interest in this matter, we might see people still come out to vote. But I can tell you that people are determined in the Southeast to vote, because they don't want to be disenfranchised. They want to at least try this system and test it and see. And if Obi wins, that will be a big one for a lot of Southeasterners, and will also be seen by neutrals as one of the ways of addressing the civil war that happened over 50 years ago. So let's see what happens tomorrow. But I think people will still come out to vote eventually.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing this with us. It's been insightful listening to you. Thank you.
My great pleasure. Thank you.
Mazino Dickson is senior reporter, Voice of Nigeria. Let me come in studio. He was my lecturer at the African University College of Communications. He's an author, and he's since become a very good friend. And I've always enjoyed listening to him. His insight into issues are worth listening to. Wow. He's Nigerian, and he's joined us in the studio. Ogochukwu Nweke. Wow. I hope I got the name right. The middle name always gets me.
Well, nice to have you see you again, man.
It's been quite a while.
Yes,
it's been quite. It's interesting that you are close to me and we don't get to.
It's funny, pa. But I guess it's the demands of the work.
Yeah.
I must congratulate you on the great work you're doing, man.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you.
Yes,
thank
sir.
you very much. He joined us for us to continue this discussion in studio. You're from Southeast, right? Southeast.
Yes, I'm from the Southeast.
Okay. The issues was raising about the Southeast. Real issues?
Yes, there are real issues. There are real issues, but of course, most of the comments have been made based on antecedents.
Okay.
Because especially in the 2019 elections, you didn't have too many voters coming out to vote. Okay. Because of this IPOP situation and the fact that a lot of people were hoping for a secession. Okay. But as it
a
is,
secession?
Yes.
Of the Southeast?
Yes. The indigenous people of Biafra that he talked about.
Okay.
Yes. It was almost...
And the indigenous people are there?
From the Southeast and some part of South.
Okay. Predominantly Igbos?
Igbos, yes.
Okay.
They're Igbos.
Okay.
Mainly Igbos. So there's been that dissatisfaction with the way things are going in Nigeria, and the talk, the talk had been on before then, but the agitation got really strong within that period and has continued up till now. Like he was talking about the unknown gunmen and all the terrorist attacks and things like that going on, and the non-state actors, and the certain Simon Epa that he mentioned, but there's been a lot of things going on. However, in 2022, November of 2022, there was the Anambra State elections. Yes. And the turnout, wasn't as wonderful as it would have been, but it was much better than what a lot of people thought.
An improved one.
Very, much improved, And so there's been some changes. And the hope, that this election is bringing to all Nigerians is not eluding the Southeast as well. It's not just about Peter Obi being from the Southeast. He was governor of Anambra State, from 2007. But at the end of the day, all Nigerians have gotten involved and want to see the kind of change that we've been looking for. And so it's brought a lot of hope, and the Southeast is participating effectively. Now, to the point of the senator or aspiring senator that was killed, you know how it is. Maybe I'll be speaking from a legal perspective, but the fact that he's a senator kind of points to the election, or that he's an aspiring senator points to the fact of the election. But however, we cannot say for a fact that the reasons he was killed are political or are connected to the elections. We need to wait and find that out. It could have been a random killing. It could have been something connected to, some of the things that, he had been involved in, or a position that he took or something, so we'll get to see at the end of the day how that happened. But that is not stopping the people from pursuing after tomorrow and making sure things happen well.
There's a lot of hope. You talk about change that people have been expecting, looking forward to.
Yes.
Is that change only embodied by Peter Obi, or the other candidates too are seen as candidates that can break that change?
Interestingly, let me remind you of a few things. In 2015, we had this conversation. In 2019, I still remember where I was standing at the University of Ghana campus.
When we spoke.
Yes. We had this conversation. And there is something I've been saying to you since 2015, that Nigerians are aspiring for a third force. Something different from the APC and the PDP. Something that is going to bring about the kind of change that people can hold on to, the kind of hope that people can hold on to. I told you then that in 2015, what we saw was a migration of some people from the PDP into the APC. And up till now, it's still happening. So you can't actually tell the difference between APC and PDP, because it's the same kind of people that brought it up. But all of a sudden, we have a new party. Yes, this guy has been in politics for a while. And from ABGA, which was, the party that he ran under when he was governor in Anambra State. However, the ABGA is more like an Anambra State party. Doesn't have a national flavor. So it was important that if he was going to lead the country, he needed to go into a party that had a national flavor. And he went after the PDP. It had to be either the PDP or the APC. But because you could see the conscience of the man and the fact that he was hoping and pushing towards accountability, after his pursuit in 2019 with Atiku, I guess he started thinking, I can't speak for him, but he must have started thinking. And after the primaries that, got Atiku re-elected to represent the PDP, he decided to pull out. The Labour Party historically, has had not more than 2 states all this while. In fact, the strongest hold of the Labour Party was Ondo State. And that was for a while. So all of a sudden, we are seeing a movement that is not even party oriented. This is just about Nigerians. This has been more issue based than any other, election campaign.
How old is the Labour Party?
The Labour Party has been around, though. It's been around. Like I was telling you, the Labour Party, Dr. Mimiku, that was governor in Ondo State, was under the Labour Party. And then later I think he migrated to the PDP. But so they've been around. They've been around for over 10 years.
So Peter Obi was
in ABGA.
In ABGA?
Yes.
What is the link with Atiku?
So after his reign as governor of Anambra State. Okay. He more or less like withdrew from politics.
Okay.
And then later we found out that he had joined the PDP.
Okay.
So in the 2019 election, okay, he ran as Atiku's vice.
Oh, it was Atiku's running mate.
Yes.
In 2019.
In 2019.
What happened then? How did he move from the PDP?
So
running mate to where he-
the hope was that he would emerge as the PDP running mate after the primaries, but Atiku still won it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so he was hoping to lead the party this time around.
Yes, to lead the party this time around.
So he contested in the PDP
The primaries, yes.
and lost.
And lost.
And then he moved
And then he moved, yes.
into the Labour
And
Party.
it just so happened that that move was one of the best things that happened to Nigerians. Because I think that, Nigerians were looking for a symbol of hope, a symbol of deliverance, a symbol of change, something different. And even while he was there, even, running under Atiku or as vice to Atiku, a lot of people wondered what he was doing. Okay, a lot of people that knew his antecedents wondered what he was doing, just as people wondered why Yemi Osinbajo will be Buhari's,
Vice president.
Yes, these were questions that Nigerians kept asking. So when he moved out of the PDP, okay, it was like something beautiful. And like for the APC primaries as well, a lot of Nigerians were hoping that Yemi Osinbajo
was going to contest. In fact,
he did contest.
And he didn't win.
He didn't win. So that was very disappointing.
My
I
money
think
was actually on him.
a lot of people, all of us, I mean, the man is an intellectual and he's done well, and so it is possible that if the vice president had pulled out like Peter Obi, and joined another movement, maybe we would have seen a lot more of this going on, because Nigerians want to be able to make, choices that would drive them towards the right direction.
So as we speak now, because he said there are 18 candidates in total.
Yes, well, we've had more.
We've had more.
We've had more in the past,
In the
so
past elections.
Yes.
Are those all candidates who are of parties of national character, or some of them are regional, mostly?
yes, some of them are regional, some of them are not even known.
Not so well known.
Not so well known. Others are actually affiliated to the major parties,
Okay.
but they are hoping to use them to penetrate the grassroots in the various states where they come from. Okay. So, for instance, back in the days, I think in the days of Obasanjo, okay, Anambra State, even though it was an ABGA party, would usually tilt towards the PDP than it would towards the APC.
Okay.
See, so some of those games are also played on the ground to see how many people or how many votes you can pull from the not so popular. It's just like when a lot of them come out and run for the primaries, they give you the impression that they are running, and then all of a sudden they just give their vote to whoever it is.
else.
Yes, so that has been part of the Nigerian politics for a while.
I also want to ask, this whole matter of Southeast, is this the move for secession still that popular?
Well, on the one hand, yes, because I don't know if you've heard of the popular Mazin Nnamdi Kanu. Okay, the
Yes.
famous Mazin Nnamdi Kanu. He is the one spearheading the movement, and for some reason, it seems to have resonated with a lot of people from the Southeast.
Okay.
Both in Nigeria and in the diaspora. A lot of them speak for it. With more passion. Than they used to. And the fundamental reason is because there's a very clear marginalization of the Southeast, that is going on. And a lot of people would want for that to change. And if that is not going to change, then definitely, let us have Biafra. That's what a number of people are saying. And again, there's been this talk about restructuring, and a number of them are also saying, if restructuring is not going to happen, let's have Biafra. It is not only the Southeast that is agitating. The Southwest is also agitating, and wanting to secede and have their own country.
Okay.
Yes, and
And the Southwest predominantly
is Yoruba.
Oh,
Yes, that's where Tinubu comes from.
Okay.
Yes. So, but it looks like the noise is louder with
The Southeast.
the Southeast. But I mean, it's the same thing, and it's not just happening in the Southeast, and that is why I believe that this election might be the unifier. It might be the one that helps people look beyond those situations and pursue after a united Nigeria that is going to be born out of the people deciding to be one.
Okay.
Not out of some creation that some people sitting somewhere achieved.
Because I was watching a video of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan,
Yes.
having an interaction with Peter Obi.
Yes.
And one of the things he's talked about was the very first thing any new president has to do is to unite the country. Bring the
Yes.
country together.
Yes.
Let
me forgive me, but let me also mention that the same disunity is happening in the north as we speak.
Okay.
Yes, because you see, back in the days, you will notice when Mazino was speaking, he talked about the Hausa Fulani. Okay, but the Hausa and the Fulani are two different ethnic groups, and the Hausa man has ultimately taken a position and is now saying, "I am not Fulani. I'm an Hausa man." Okay, because you check historically as well, the Fulani has been playing, the lead role in the north, and the Hausa man feels marginalized to some extent. And so this division is not peculiar to the Southeast. It's just that the Southeast is screaming for it the more. Okay, but it's the same thing. So the Hausa and the Hausa Fulani are divided. Then you go to the Yoruba, it's the same thing. And then in the Southeast, I mean, Nigeria.
It's very interesting. There's a lot of disenchantment around, but
There is.
Why would these ethnic groups all feel? What is happening in terms of tangibles that will make them feel that we are being marginalized?
Okay, so you know how it is. Nigeria, on paper, okay, is supposed to be a federal state. Okay, and the concept of federalism. The center is not supposed to be so powerful, and then you have the federating units, being able to contribute and then have their autonomy. To a very large extent. The Constitution of Nigeria, 1979, and even this 1999, kind of broke the country, and functions and responsibilities into three different lists: the exclusive, concurrent, and residual legislative lists. But the exclusive legislative list seems to have all the powers, and the states have little or nothing. And so you can come into a state and you're told this road is a federal road, and this road is a state road. So you go to the state government and you say, this road is spoiled. Can you fix the road? And they'll tell you, no, it's not our responsibility to fix the road. It's the responsibility of the federal government to fix the road. Okay. And you have state ministries and you have federal ministries in a particular state. Okay. And people are seeing all the differences and all the benefits that are being enjoyed. Then you come to the center where the president has been accused several times that his focus when it comes to selection of people in leadership, is tilted towards the Fulani. Okay, and a bit maybe of the houses. So they say it is ethnic and it's religious at the same time. So that has caused a lot of disenchantment. And people have not been very happy. As a matter of fact, the Southwest, the Yoruba nation, more or less, started their own police force.
They have their own police force.
They started.
Okay.
Yes, and it's still it's still functioning, and it raised a lot of dust, went to court, right? And the point they were trying to make was that as far as the concurrent legislative list was concerned, they had the power to set up that kind of thing, have some kind of security system that is running, their states
exclusively in that state.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
How
in
many
the various the Yoruba states would be about, I think, seven or eight.
Okay.
Yes. So they have those things going on as well. So you see that a lot of people are not happy with the way the country is being run, and they believe that the center has become so powerful. And so when you are the president, you have a lot of say, on who occupies a particular office, where what goes and things like that. And they don't seem to be enjoying how that game is being played. Yes.
Because then I'm now wondering why the Peter Obi factor is coming in. Why does it present so much hope? Is it what he's saying or who he is? Which one?
Both.
Both.
So Peter Obi thrived in the private sector.
Okay.
He thrived so well in the private sector. He did very well. And you see, one of the challenges that we've had in Nigeria and to some extent African politics is that people rise, in the government sector and then suddenly begin to occupy public office and political offices. They haven't been really tested. So you cannot tell whether they are productive or profitable. They've just risen through the ranks because of how long they've been in the system. Okay. Now, Peter Obi has been very successful in the private sector, and then ran as governor in Anambra State and did marvelously well. He brought that hope he's talking about to Anambra State.
Okay.
I happen to be from Anambra State,
okay,
so he was my governor, and I can tell you that the guy turned the state upside down, literally. He is the man, if you've heard of the governor in Nigeria that when he was leaving office left 75 billion naira to his
that was him.
Yes.
His successor?
Yes, to his successor. That was him. And that is one of the many things, he set up in the state. We've not heard stories like that before. Okay, so his antecedents. And he will make bold to say that he never took anything out of the Anambra State coffers. Not a land, not money, nothing. And I dared anyone that has a contrary information to speak up. Nobody has. Nobody has. Okay, interestingly, Tinubu was governor in Lagos State for 2 terms as well. Rabiu Kwankwaso was governor in Kano State for 2 terms. Atiku was governor in Adamawa State, but now migrated to become the vice president. Okay, so these guys have antecedents that we can measure.
That you can use to measure them.
Exactly. And Peter Obi seems to be different.
So he stands out. Because I also say, even with Tinubu, he didn't do badly in Lagos.
You see, the interesting thing about Lagos State is that Lagos is a money hub. So no governor of Lagos State has performed badly ever in history.
Oh, okay.
None. Even the military administrators, they've not performed badly. Why?
Because they are generating a lot of revenue, a lot of money available to do it.
So much money. So much money. I mean, you have ports and it's a commercial hub. So there's a lot of money. Okay, if you and when you look at some of the things that are being said about his leadership qualities and some of the things he has done and changed, you notice, like I was saying, from I think Latif Jakonde all the way Buba Marwa, all of them, they have done well. All the governors of Lagos State. But if you were to measure in terms of health, education, infrastructure, and all those things, the question now becomes, if it wasn't Tinubu, could somebody else have done
the same
thing? And the answer would almost be yes.
It wasn't exceptional.
It wasn't exceptional. However, one thing you must not take away from Tinubu is the fact that he knows how to pick the right people for the job.
He knows how to pick.
Yes, he is skilled in that. He's able to select, the finest people, the finest brains, and things like that. Because we've seen it in Lagos State. Okay, from the person after him to the commissioners, even Yemi Osinbajo.
Okay.
Was his attorney general. Okay, and so
really?
Yes. So I think the man knows how to. If you ask me, okay, some people might disagree, but that is one credit I would love to give to him. Yes, that's one credit I would love to give to him. But in terms of whether or not he transformed Lagos State, I don't know.
That you do not say.
No, I beg to differ, because all the other guys have done great.
Well, so now let's stay on Peter Obi for a moment.
Okay.
Now, you said it was so he did so much with little.
Yes.
Comparatively.
Yes.
So he did so much with
little. And ran the state with little as well.
Okay.
Yes, he didn't have a bogus team. Okay, and he tried as much as possible to cut down costs. Okay, he didn't engage in unnecessary spending. As a matter of fact, that was one of the reasons he was impeached.
He was impeached?
He was impeached.
As a governor?
As a governor.
Why?
Because he was refusing to, like they say, they call him stingy man. That he was the one that started the movement. We know they give shishi. Yeah. So imagine a situation where they will say, "Oh, we need to renovate the state house, and it's going to cost, let's say, 150 million naira." And he says, "Okay, let me see what is name. Why will it cost 150 million? No, but we can break this thing down, and it will cost 40 million. Let's use 40 million to do it." He's traveling, and they say, "Oh, you need an entourage of 50 people." Say, what am I going to the meeting for? I am the one that is meant to be in the meeting, not the 50 people. So why should I be traveling with 50 people? I'll go with only 2 people. So you see, there were people that were benefiting from some of these things in the past, and it wasn't happening any longer. It wasn't happening any longer. The guy was accountable, he was transparent, and he dedicated himself to the service. And that made all the difference.
Because it is rare for somebody who's been impeached in a position to be seen as the hope.
Okay, so let me even tell you, he was impeached, he went to court, and he was reinstated.
Impeached, went to court. Quite an interesting history he has.
Yes. It's really interesting. And so when people look at him, they see the kind of leader they want for Nigeria. They see a man they can hold, accountable, a man they can ask questions that will provide the answers. They see a man that has been able to break down what the challenges of Nigeria is. He visited every single state of the federation, including the FCT, for his campaign. And in every state he went to, he spoke to them about the potentials of the state and the challenges of the state and what they can do to deal with those things. And so people were comfortable with him. And then he picked a running mate that is himself so erudite. I mean, anytime I talk about Ahmed Yusuf, that as a matter of fact, he also ran for primaries under the PDP. Okay.
So the two of them ran
in 2019. He ran for primary.
He ran in 2019.
He ran in 2019, but he didn't make Atiku also won. Okay. But when you listen to him, he was able to break down the reason for corruption in Nigeria, especially in the public sector, and gave a solution as to how it can be tackled. These are the kind of people we want. For the first time in the history of Nigeria, we have 2 intellectuals, 2 technocrats that have made it in the private sector coming together to push towards a better Nigeria. We've not had it before.
But what would that essentially also mean? Because you're saying he's also from Southeast,
yes,
where the agitation for secession is more pronounced.
Yes.
If Peter Obi wins, would that douse those fires a little bit?
It will, because on the one hand, the issue of marginalization will cease. Okay. The aspirations that the people have because they feel they have not been treated nicely or treated as well as the other parts of the country will also cease. Okay. And perhaps we'll pursue after something different. And so it's going to bring a lot of value to the system. Now I can tell you this, that the fact that Peter Obi is even contesting, and with the kind of energy that he has brought, a lot of people in the Southeast, like you heard Mazino said, even this poor man, that was killed. Okay, Senator Ibo, I think, it's not stopping people from making up their minds to say they are coming out to vote. And they, whether it's arrest or invitation of Simon Epa, okay, in Finland, has also added a lot of value. People are more resolved to come out, and because if the man has been invited or arrested, okay, the impression is that okay, there's some sanity coming in, so he won't be able to do whatever it is any longer. In the Anambra State elections, the government, okay, on Buhari, of course, deployed about 40,000 or 44,000 security personnel for that Anambra State elections. People were able to come out to vote. And the ballot snatching and all those things, they didn't happen. Okay, and security was high. People tried to be funny, and those that tried to be funny were dealt with accordingly. So we also believe that tomorrow, that kind of security apparatus will be available, not just in Anambra State, the whole of Southeast and in the whole of Nigeria, and things are going to go well.
I want to do the two candidates that are coming in and changing the dynamics before I come to the mainstream.
Okay.
Then you talk about a certain, is it Kwankwaso?
Yes, Rabiu Kwankwaso.
Why is he also attracting so much attention?
Rabiu Kwankwaso is also another power broker.
Okay.
If you ask me, he was governor of Kano State as well, which is one of the largest states in Nigeria, both in terms of wealth, population, commerce. Okay, Kano State is there. It's like the center of the north. Now, so it's also very influential in Nigerian politics. Kwankwaso was able to lead and do well in Kano State, okay, and has been part of Nigeria's politics, since the time he, became governor and then a senator and all of that.
So he's a well-known face.
He is a well-known face, and he is a power broker. And he's also intelligent.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're seeing a lot of that in the elections.
Yes. And excitingly enough, it is very exciting for Nigerians. Believe me. I just imagine that if Yemi Osinbajo was also part of it, the energy would have been awesome.
Well, there's so the two mainstream candidates,
Yes.
APC, PDP,
Yes. That's Atiku and Tinubu.
Tinubu, Atiku.
Yes.
Atiku was in the last elections. In fact, there were some reports that said that he actually won the elections but lost it. There were some that suggested. In fact, he went to court and he didn't succeed.
Yes.
So Buhari continued.
Yes.
The reporter said, but for the presence of Peter Obi, he would have confidently predicted that Atiku would have won this election. Do you agree?
Not really. Okay, so one of the reasons he said that would be because APC has been in office for 8 years, through President Muhammadu Buhari. Their score sheet is not so good.
Okay.
I believe that's one of the reasons, PMB is also trying to make sure that this election, is a huge success. Okay. But having said that, so it's as if APC is contesting against APC because when you listen to some of the campaign promises that Tinubu and his team are making, it's as if we're coming to correct the mistakes of our predecessor.
Okay.
And it doesn't sound so cool. Yes, it doesn't add up. So in that regard, perhaps Atiku would have had a chance. But Atiku as well has not done so well for his political career because he's not been living in Nigeria.
Really?
That's what the story says. He's not been living in Nigeria. He's been living in Dubai. So you can't want to run a country and you don't even live in the country. That's one. The second part is that he is from Adamawa State, like you heard. And Adamawa State has been one of the states bedeviled with all the terrorism and kidnaps and attacks and all of that. Now you are from that state. You have served as a vice president. What input have you made? How many times have we heard you speak about the subject? What contributions have you made to see that things are resolved, or are you doing it on the ground, which is possible, but we haven't heard much from you. Secondly, you live in Dubai, and Dubai continues to blacklist Nigeria. What have you done about it? How have you addressed the matter? Okay, and then there are so many unanswered questions about his integrity. His boss, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, has hardly ever had anything good to say about Atiku.
He doesn't have the endorsement of the man he said.
No, he doesn't.
And as vice president.
Yes. As a matter of fact, Obasanjo was quoted as saying in an international forum that God will not forgive him if he endorses Atiku.
Really?
Yes. So in 2019, I don't know if there was some kind of mediation between two of them, and Obasanjo tried to show up, to show his support for him and all of that. But you could see that this is not the Obasanjo we know, the kind of man that will come out and support you if he wants to support you. Yeah. That energy was not there even in 2019. So even if their misunderstanding or whatever it is has been resolved, those things that Obasanjo said are in history. Okay. And cannot be forgotten.
Okay.
Yes. So in terms of his credibility,
there are questions.
There are questions concerning his credibility, and then there are so many times Nigerians had expected that he will step up and show that he's patriotic and show that he has the interest of the Nigerians at heart, but he didn't do it. And so the people also have not forgotten that. So it's possible that if it was just between him and Tinubu still would have won.
Tinubu still have won.
Yes. It's
Okay,
possible.
then now let's talk about Tinubu. Because then you're saying that even with the disenchantment, Tinubu will have won. Okay, let me put it properly.
Okay.
What is the state of, how do Nigerians feel about the APC currently?
Nigerians are not happy about the APC.
They are not happy about it.
No, they are not happy about the APC. Even the APC members are not happy about the APC. You know, a lot of things didn't go right. And Tinubu, like I told you, okay, has been a powerful guy in Nigerian politics for a long time, since 1999, when he became governor in Lagos State, and he ran for 2 terms, okay? And it is speculated, very strongly speculated, that the person after him, Fashola, okay, he was the person that helped him come into office. And then Ambode, he was the person that brought Ambode into office. And then Sanwo-Olu, he was the person that helped bring Sanwo-Olu into office. He also was the person that helped bring Buhari into office, which he actually bragged about openly. Okay, so if we were left to choose, and we come to the point where we now have to sit down and say, okay, which one should it be? Okay, it is possible that people can separate themselves from, or separate Tinubu from the APC, and just say that this man will do better than Buhari.
He knows how to pick winners.
Yes, he does. I think he does. I already told you that. He has an eye for that. You know, I think he does.
So if it comes down to Atiku Abubakar, Tinubu, you are expecting that a lot of the Nigerian electorates will still go with Tinubu, even though they are not happy with APC.
I believe so. The other thing that is working against Tinubu is that he looks very frail.
Yes, I've seen him, and I realized from the in fact, their biodata, Atiku is older than him, right?
On paper.
Yes, on paper.
Because Atiku doesn't look older than him in real life. And you see,
I looked at it.
I don't think Atiku is as wealthy as Tinubu.
Okay.
So it won't be about wealth. In fact, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding Tinubu's age and all those things, because even when you go on Google back in the days, and you know, people were following. I'm telling you, this election is not like any election we've had in Nigeria. Okay, people were following, and so there was a time Tinubu's age featured. I think it was 2 years ago or last year, and he was supposed to be 70 or 71. Okay, and people were saying, no, you can't be, because we remember, you know, your age some time ago, and so you should be in your early 80s now or mid 80s, and it got so interesting that even when he featured that age, people were saying that it means that he's 10 years older than his first child. You know, which sounded very funny. And so a lot of things have been said, but the man looks frail, and it's not just about his health. He's old.
Yeah.
You know, he's old. And so I think that also might work against him if it was just between he and Atiku. Okay. But I mean, if your own boss can say that he will not support you because of a lot of things he knows about you and the things you did under him, then it's a difficult one.
I have to let you go. What do you predict this will go?
Okay, so I'll tell you this. Remember, just like what Mazino was saying, okay, the youth are going to play a very important role in this election. And that is why I keep saying to people that the NSAS protest is not over. Whatever it is that is going on and the interest of the youth in this election is stemming from the NSAS protest. Okay, so this is like NSAS part 2. Okay, and I mean, 10 million new voters added, and over 50% of them the youth. Okay, I think Peter Obi is the preferred candidate.
Peter Obi is the preferred. Would he win?
It's very likely. Anything is possible. Like you heard Mazino saying.
What will be the impediments in his way? What will make it difficult for Peter to emerge?
Well, the fact that the APC and the PDP, you know, have been in the system for a long time and seem to know how the Nigerian election politics is played, which Buhari seems to have tried to combat and may have done so. We're living with the issue of the currency. Okay, but if because as at yesterday, between yesterday and this morning, Yes,
a lot
the
of money in politics.
Yes. So between yesterday and today, we're already hearing that money is going around. Laptops, fridges, seem to be going around all of a sudden. But at the end of the day, the hope, is that Peter Obi wins.
That's the hope.
That's the hope. And if all the people talking, and engaging and saying that they were going to vote, do you know that people are coming back from the diaspora to vote?
To vote.
Yes.
I hope that does not include Nelson Mandela and I was surprised. Mike Tyson voted in a Nigerian.
Oh yes, Mike Tyson has voted. Nelson Mandela, Michael Jordan voted
In a Nigerian election.
Yes.
That's an interesting one.
It's funny.
Wow.
Funny.
Nice to have you in the studio.
Yes.
But okay, so the one issue just comes. So what do you think will determine who wins? Which issue? Is it
voter turnout?
Voter turnout.
Yes, and you see, there's another thing that Nigerians seem to have made up their minds about this time.
Okay.
They are not afraid of the violence. They are not afraid of the threat. Okay. They are saying that, man, we're going all out, and we're going to make sure that whatever it is that is holding Nigeria down ends with this election. Okay, I believe that the thought forces have risen, and I'm hoping that we'll see it play out tomorrow.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
It's always a privilege, my brother.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
His name is